The Atlanta Falcons. Interesting draft for the Atlanta Falcons this year. They went with a receiver in the first round, 26 overall, Calvin Ridley from Alabama. Some people thought was the best receiver in the draft. Some people thought maybe second, but nonetheless, I think he's a ready prospect. A guy that I think probably the best route runner out of all of them in the draft. And I just think has a speed to open up this offense. The problem since losing Kyle Shanahan has a lot been more their play calling other than their actual talents themselves. But they have Mohamed Sanu. They have Julio Jones. They lost Gabriel. Ridley's an upgrade there. I think that they have a really good trio at receiver. You have already good running backs. They don't really use their tight end much, but Hooper is pretty talented. So you have a lot of talent around Matt Ryan, already a pretty good offensive line. I think this was an interesting pick. Maybe they felt like it was the best player. Maybe there's something going on with Julio Jones. There's been a little bit of situation with him like deleting like his Twitter or something or Instagram or something from that regard. I don't think there's an issue there, but I don't know. Another Alabama receiver for Atlanta there at round 1. Isaiah Oliver in round 2. Some people thought was maybe a late first round pick. I think it's a good pick here. Not that he was really my favorite corner, because I do think he has a lot of kind of project to him. He's an aggressive corner, kind of big, but not necessarily the best man-to-man, more of kind of the same scheme fit that Atlanta plays. So that's why I feel like it was a pretty good fit, because he does sort of play that scheme already where he was playing in Colorado, and he's aggressive, he's big, good at the line, can kind of physically dominate a receiver. And I think that might be a good depth add there. But I do think that for the Falcons, they did kind of miss out on a couple of their needs. I do think that they could have used another rusher, whether in the inside or the outside on their defensive line. They did lose a couple of guys, Claiborne, this past year. And also, I'm blanking on someone else. But Poe. They also lost Poe as well. So there's a couple of defensive linemen that they did lose. They did try and get one in the third round. Running back Ito Smith, I don't know, maybe they just felt like really good player. Here it says great jump cut ability. I know that Dylan did more of the running backs than I did, but great jump cut ability, vision, and tremendous in the screen game. So he at best, though, is going to be the third running back. In the 6th round, they went with an inside linebacker, another guy that could maybe fit the system. I just think Atlanta, at this point, they just know guys that are going to fit their system really well. They know what type of player they're looking at for which position, and that's why they've been pretty successful with their drafts. But I do think they did maybe miss out on a defensive lineman. AC, what did you think of the Atlanta draft?
Yeah, I thought their draft was pretty average. I'd give it I was close to a B minus, but I'm giving them a B plus because I think going out and getting Ridley. And a lot of people said it, Ridley is – people didn't think Ridley was a number 1 receiver, but put him next to Julio Jones.
Yeah.
And he is going to be a very –
And Sanu, too.
Sanu's
good.
No, exactly. So, put him in a situation where he can – he's, getting covered by kind of their third option, right? And with that offense, hopefully Steve Sarkisian can figure something out.
And also the thing with
year.
Steve Sarkisian is if he's not as good of a coordinator as you would maybe like, you have such studs on your team that they can get it done regardless.
So that was the big thing. It's really was better off going to a team that had a good number 1 and even a good number 2 because I do think Ridley has the potential to be better than Justin Hardy.
For sure.
Obviously different, but that's, obviously we can't really talk too much about the offense with Shanahan because it's not going to be the same like we saw last year. So that's why I bumped up to B plus because I thought that was awesome because I think their guards, are decent. Their offensive line is decent. And like you said, defensive line, they maybe could have looked at, but that's the Senate, I think, is going to be pretty good and will get a lot of snaps next year. Grady Jarrett obviously showed his stuff.
Yeah,
they did pick up Jack Crawford from Dallas.
Yeah, not bad run stopper.
And Brooks Reed from Houston, who I guess they like. Oh, they did. Okay, I have a hard time reading the R lads thing where it's all the different.
Yeah, they have McKinley and they have
McKinley, so he's great, but Derek Shelby, who I don't really know.
Miami.
From Miami, yeah. So yeah, they lose a little there, but I just think they got what they needed. I think obviously Isaiah Oliver, just looking at the depth chart, is going to be their fourth best corner. You know, Brian Poole showed his stuff at that nickelback position. Obviously, Trufant.
This is another team in Atlanta that sneaky really didn't have a lot of needs.
No, for sure. Yeah. And I like the pick, and we'll see them. And I've never really been Atlanta. I've always kind of cheered for. I do like Matt Ryan. I do think he's a great player, and I think you got to get the most of what you can, and just bringing in another target for him just helps. Because if you do think about it, not even throwing to your tight end, if you shut down, especially last year, if you shut down Julio and Sanu, there was no one to throw to.
Exactly.
And also they're always pressuring, like obviously Tevin Coleman. They always have a guy locked in. Like Justin Hardy wasn't the guy. Like look at what Gabriel did when he was in that offense. That's what I hope they can get more of a third receiving target to get some catches. But yeah, B+ for me.
Yeah, so B+ for the Atlanta Falcons, a team not a lot of needs, but did get some players that can help them right away.